There is a plant that NASA calls the perfect survival food for space colonization. It contains more protein than soybeans. It doubles its biomass every 48 hours. It produces more nutrition per acre than any crop ever measured. Astronauts on Mars will depend on it for survival, yet you cannot buy it in any supermarket on Earth. For 3,000 years, civilizations across Asia cultivated it as a primary protein source. In Thailand, it is called kai nam, meaning eggs of the water. In Myanmar, farmers harvest it daily from village ponds. Families have eaten it for generations. Then, Western agriculture classified it as pond scum, a nuisance, something to eliminate with chemicals. The global herbicide industry sells products specifically designed to poison it out of existence. The most efficient protein source on the planet, the food astronauts will need to survive, is something we pay money to destroy. This is duckweed, the plant that breaks every rule of agriculture and the one they could not figure out how to sell. Welcome to history's hidden harvest. Before we unearth this forbidden food, know that every like, every share, and every subscription helps preserve the crops that industry erased. If the wisdom your ancestors survived on matters to you, hit subscribe and the bell. Now let us dig. The story begins in 1578 in the imperial courts of the Ming dynasty. Li Shizhen, the greatest physician in Chinese history, completes his life's work. The Benkao Gangmu, the Compendium of Materia Medica, 52 volumes documenting 1,892 medicinal substances. Among them is fuping. Duckweed. Li Shizhen prescribes it for fevers, for inflammation, for urinary problems. He notes that commoners harvest it from ponds and consume it as food. The text survives 5 centuries because his observations were correct. But Li Shizhen was not documenting a discovery. He was recording knowledge that already stretched back millennia. Archaeological evidence suggests humans consumed duckweed wherever it grew. It appears in ponds across every continent except Antarctica. It grows so fast that ancient peoples could harvest daily without depleting the supply. It required no cultivation, no planting, no labor beyond scooping it from the water. In Southeast Asia, duckweed cultivation became systematic. Thai farmers maintained dedicated ponds. They controlled nutrient levels to maximize growth. They harvested each morning, leaving enough to regenerate by the next day. One pond provided protein for an entire family, indefinitely, without seed purchases, without fertilizer applications, without any external input. The Burmese called it Angi Aemi, water vegetable. Vietnamese communities along the Mekong Delta incorporated it into daily cuisine. Laotian villages still harvest it today. For thousands of years, millions of people obtained their protein from a plant that Western science dismissed as worthless. Then, NASA got interested. In 1986, the space agency faced a fundamental problem. Long-duration space missions require food production in transit. Carrying enough supplies to Mars is impossible. Astronauts need to grow food in spacecraft with minimal space, minimal water, and minimal energy. Every crop failed the requirements. Wheat takes months to mature. Vegetables require soil and light and volume. Fruits demand conditions spacecraft cannot provide. Researchers at the Kennedy Space Center began testing aquatic plants. Duckweed outperformed everything. It doubled its biomass every 24 to 48 hours. It grew under artificial light with minimal energy. It required no soil. It purified water while producing food. One reactor provided both water recycling and protein generation simultaneously. Dr. William Edwards at NASA's Controlled Ecological Life Support Systems program called duckweed the most promising candidate for space agriculture. In 2001, NASA published research confirming duckweed could sustain astronauts on missions lasting years. The agency still funds duckweed research today. The nutritional profile explains why. Dried duckweed contains up to 45% protein by weight. Soybeans contain 36%. Chicken contains 31%. Beef contains 26%. Duckweed delivers more protein per gram than any common food source, plant or animal. But quantity is only part of the story. The protein quality rivals animal sources. Duckweed contains all essential amino acids in proportions that match WHO recommendations for human nutrition. Most plant proteins are incomplete, lacking one or more essential amino acids. Duckweed is complete. It requires no combining with other foods to deliver full nutrition. In 2014, researchers at the University of Jena in Germany published findings that stunned the scientific community. They fed duckweed to human subjects and measured protein bioavailability. The results showed absorption rates comparable to animal proteins. The lead researcher, Dr. Alexandra Weigelt, described duckweed as nutritionally equivalent to meat. Beyond protein, duckweed delivers vitamin A, vitamin B complex, vitamin C, vitamin E, iron, zinc, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. A single plant provides what supplements charge $30 a bottle to approximate. Here is what makes duckweed biologically impossible. Most plants grow slowly because photosynthesis is inefficient. Plants capture only 1 to 2% of available sunlight energy. Duckweed captures up to 10%. Scientists do not fully understand why. The conversion efficiency defies models built from studying other species. Duckweed also lacks the structural tissues that slow other plants. No stems, no roots penetrating soil, no cellulose-heavy fibers. Nearly the entire organism is metabolically active, photosynthetic tissue. It converts sunlight to protein without wasting energy on structure. The reproduction is equally remarkable. Duckweed does not wait for flowers, pollination, and seed development. It reproduces by budding. One frond becomes 2, 2 become 4, 4 becomes 8. Exponential growth, limited only by surface area and nutrients. In ideal conditions, duckweed can double daily. No other food crop comes close. Yield calculations terrify the agricultural industry. 1 acre of soybeans produces 400 to 600 kilograms of protein annually with irrigation, fertilizer, pesticides, and machinery. 1 acre of duckweed ponds produces 6,000 to 10,000 kilograms of protein annually, 10 to 20 times the yield, using 90% less water, requiring 0 pesticides, generating 0 agricultural runoff. So why do supermarkets refuse to sell it? The answer reveals everything about who controls what we eat. Duckweed grows on water. Any water. Pond water, wastewater, drainage ditches. It requires no farmland. The global agricultural land market is worth over $3 trillion. Duckweed needs none of it. Duckweed requires no seeds. You harvest half and the other half regenerates. The global seed market generates over $60 billion annually. Duckweed offers no revenue opportunity. Duckweed requires no fertilizer. It absorbs nutrients from water, including nitrogen and phosphorus, that other systems consider pollutants. The fertilizer industry generates over $200 billion annually. Duckweed would cost them sales. Duckweed requires no pesticides or herbicides. The agrochemical industry generates over $70 billion annually selling products to protect crops and kill competitors. Duckweed has no pests and is the competitor they sell products to kill. You cannot patent a plant that has grown wild for millions of years. You cannot create hybrid varieties that force annual purchases. You cannot establish supply chain control over something that anyone with a bucket and sunlight can produce. The entire infrastructure of industrial food depends on scarcity, controlled production, centralized distribution, consumer dependence. Duckweed breaks every link in that chain, so it remains classified as pond scum, aquatic weed, something to eliminate. The EPA lists it as a nuisance species in many states. Herbicide manufacturers sell diquat, fluridin, and flumioxazin specifically to destroy it. Homeowners associations demand its removal from decorative ponds. We spend money poisoning the most efficient protein source ever measured because no corporation figured out how to profit from it. Identifying duckweed is simple. Look for any still or slow-moving water. Ponds, ditches, marshes, lake edges. The plants are tiny, 1 to 10 millimeters across, depending on species. They float on the surface in bright green mats. Each frond is oval or round, slightly thickened, with one or more hair-thin roots dangling below. Wolfia, the smallest species, looks like green pinheads. It has no roots at all and is the smallest flowering plant on Earth. Growing duckweed requires only a container, water, and light. A plastic tub on a balcony works. An aquarium works. Add water. Add a small amount of fertilizer or pond water with natural nutrients. Introduce duckweed from a clean source. Harvest half the surface every few days. It regrows indefinitely. Taste is mild and slightly nutty. In Asia, duckweed is eaten fresh in salads, dried into powder for smoothies, or cooked into soups and stir-fries. The texture resembles tender spinach. It absorbs flavors from accompanying ingredients. We did not lose duckweed. We were taught to despise it. The green mats covering ponds are not pollution. They are protein farms operating without human permission. The plant that NASA will use to feed astronauts on Mars grows in ditches beside highways while we import soybeans from deforested land across the ocean. Climate change is disrupting agriculture. Water scarcity is spreading. Protein costs are rising. The crop that produces 20 times more nutrition per acre using 90% less water, requiring zero farmland, becomes more essential every year. Every pond that grows duckweed is a protein source hiding in plain sight. Every bucket that cultivates it is a farm that requires no farm. The food that supermarkets refuse to sell cannot be stopped from growing. It does not need permission. It does not need corporations. It simply floats, photosynthesizes, and multiplies. The astronauts will eat it. The question is whether we will remember what our ancestors knew before they do. If this harvest revealed something for you, subscribe to History's Hidden Harvest and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase from history. The next harvest, unearthed soon.